Good day, Easy Properties investors. For those who don't know me, I'm Ronald Marco, Marketing Manager at Easy Properties. And today I'm joined by two guests from Bow & Arc Development, Andries Pretoria and Etienne. Welcome, gentlemen. It's nice to have you with us.
Oh, thanks, Ronald. It's a pleasure. It's our privilege.
Thanks, Ronald. We're excited, man. Thanks so much for the introduction.
Perfect. We're going to be talking about Volley Brooklyn, right? So a very popular development that you guys are doing that we currently have on our platform, and I mean, we are currently buying 8 units from you guys. And a little birdie told me that these are flying off the shelf. I mean, how many units have you guys sold in your opening day?
Yeah, so Ronald, I'll quickly answer that. So we launched on the 14th of March at 12. And we had a 88%. We sold 88% of the development in 16 minutes.
16
minutes.
We had
16 minutes. Yeah. So we were overwhelmed. We had over 1,000 signups for the development, and we couldn't believe it ourselves. But it just speaks to the development and the not just the amenities for the students, but also all the benefits to the investors into this project. It's a one of a kind in Pretoria, and I think the investors picked up on it.
Yeah, Chiefs, that is super impressive, man. Etienne, do you want to add on to that?
Yeah, so usually you would see that if you do actually a little bit of research on student developments, you will find that mostly the developers do not sell the stock that they have on hand. They retain the stock as rental stock because it's a good industry to be in. So very seldom do you get the opportunity to buy proper rental stock or student development units on sectional title because, like I say, because of the high demand for these. And like I said, the developers know that they don't need to sell. They can easily keep it, and it makes a far better investment case to keep these units. But we've decided for the first project for Volley, we're gonna sell these as sectional title. And give a limited few people the opportunity to buy into the Volley brand and to have a rental unit as an investment opportunity. And so we're giving those guys a 3-year rental guarantee that comes with the investment if they choose to exercise that, at no management cost either. So it's a 3-year rental guarantee. Rental income is fixed, guaranteed for 3 years, and with no hidden cost attached to that. So it's a very good opportunity. And they buy they also get the opportunity to buy into the Volley brand, which looks like it's going to become very popular very soon.
Yeah, no, guys, this is so impressive, man, and you guys sound very confident about the product itself, and I think that also gives our investors quite a lot of comfort, that you guys are backing it, and and I think we have the last 8, right? Or how many still available? Yeah.
Yeah. So you guys are taking the last 8. So yeah, so you guys are taking the last 8. All of them are sitting in the south block, so it's divided up into 2 blocks. You guys are taking, I think, mainly 3 and 4 beds, and the IRR and the yield on those units are looking very, very healthy, very good, and so I think it's a good investment for anyone on your side to invest in one of these units.
Yeah, I mean that's so exciting, man. And you guys are speaking so passionately about like the student housing industry, so I think maybe it's worthwhile giving us a bit of an understanding around what is the Volley student living brand. Can you tell us a bit about that?
Yeah. So just to summarize it up in 1 or 2 sentences, we see the Volley student brand as not just the future of student living in South Africa, but we see ourselves as a hospitality and a purpose-built student accommodation brand in South Africa. So we combine, obviously, the actual asset, the apartment, combining that with excellent service, excellent amenities. We've got incredible tech that's a part of this whole brand. So we see ourselves way more as a hospitality brand to some extent than as just a normal developer that develops and that runs away. We're going to be a part of this development. We are taking numerous units in this development ourselves. So we're going to be in this development with all the investors, and hopefully together we can force capital appreciation on these units over the next couple of years. And so in short, that's what I see the brand as.
Yeah, and so So we're going to be the third student housing brand or residential brand in South Africa. And the thing is, we are, like Andries said, now it's important for us to retain stock and to know who are the end users or the student that's going to rent there from the investor at the end of the day. So it's very important for us to protect the brand. For us, it's all about the brand, and that's why it's not just an investment into a sectional title scheme. It's far more than that, and that is why we are very keen to sign a lease back of 3 years, so that we can guarantee the quality of the students staying there. Because if you get one bad patch or 2 bad guys staying in a development, they can easily spoil the party for everybody. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
and that could in a sense affect our brand, and that's what I'm saying. So that's, the brand is very dear to us, and therefore we have to maintain and see that the quality is maintained throughout, not only from the investors perspective, but also from the tenants perspective.
Ronald, just to add to Etienne there, so before we launched the Volley brand, we did an immense amount of research on Generation Z. So we focused on Gen Z. It's the current students that are coming through, and they have very specific needs with regards to their lives, right? It's very different to millennials and the generations before them. And what we've seen was that there's a massive need or a massive problem where they have a lot of stuff with regards to mental health. You know, it's even a higher problem than struggling with the academics. They really have a problem, or they struggle with loneliness, anxiety, stress, those type of things.
yeah.
So what we've done is we've built this whole brand focused purely around this generation, and we've partnered with a company called Volley Health, where students, obviously, so not obviously, but we'll have an app called the Volley app. On an app, you can book amenities. It's the way that we communicate with all the students, etc. But also through the app, you'll be able to be linked with a specific therapist or a psychologist. So you'll go on the app, you can then choose a psychologist or a therapist that focuses on, let's say, for example, on anxiety. And then you'll be connected and you can have anonymous conversations with these therapists on the house. You know, it's going to be free for the students, because we know that if we can help these students in our developments, I mean, these are the future people of our country. If we can look after them and we can get them to believe in South Africa, and we can get them to stay in our country, you know, and we can get these healthy individuals to go and change South Africa, you know, we've done a good job. And that's the underlying heart behind a lot of the stuff that we're busy with. It's how do we impact the students? How do we motivate them to work together and to understand that they've got a massive role and to play in the future of this country, you know?
Yeah, geez, clearly I graduated during the wrong times, man. Like this sounds amazing. Sure.
Yeah, and just on that as well, we've decided on the University of Pretoria. So Volley Brooklyn it's 950 meters from the University of Pretoria, and I mean, it's the second largest public university in South Africa. You know, there's over 50,000 students studying at Tux, which is it's immense, it's incredible. You know, so the not just the location, but the demand for this type of housing is incredible, specifically in Pretoria at the moment.
Yeah, no, like that's absolutely true. I mean, I like my first job was in Pretoria, you know, so I know that area very well, and like it fills me with like a lot of joy, just like, you know, knowing that a lot of this is happening in and around the area, you know. Yes, this is exciting, and it sounds like you guys are not just investing in the development and property itself, but, you know, like for me, it's unheard of to hear, like, you know, developers also focusing on the tenants themselves. You know, I think this is revolutionary. Yeah,
absolutely. So we see ourselves as a vertically integrated real estate company. You know, we're not just developing the asset. We wanna develop the asset and then manage the tenants afterwards. And I think not a lot of developers want to take that risk to stay in the development for the next 20 years. You know, they want to get in and then develop and then hand over. And I understand that as well.
Yeah, look.
Etienne, just on the demand as well, Etienne, maybe you want to mention this, but Etienne was involved in a massive project literally opposite the University of Pretoria. And in their second year, they had a waiting list of over 400 students. And that was also a catalyst for the University of Pretoria, just to give investors at Easy Properties some background as to the high demand for luxury purposeful student accommodation.
Sure. Yeah, that is amazing. Hey? So like, I just want to find, like, where does this passion come from for student accommodation? You know, you guys could have gone and developed like commercial, residential, but I mean, there's an entire brand, like a series of brand where you guys are like now starting with Volley Brooklyn, and, you know, we're going to roll it out to the rest of the country. But the obsession with student accommodation, like, where does it come from?
Okay, so basically, I've been in developments a few years, and about 7 years ago, 6-7 years ago, I've decided to I've looked for the next development I wanted to do, and I've phoned a friend who happened to stay next to the University of Pretoria, and I told him, listen, you still want to sell your property because I'm in the market. Let's do this. And he said, yeah. He's got offers on the table, and but let's talk. And I said, well, that's easy. If you have an offer, I can also make an offer. So that whole process ended up with me securing about 1.8 hectares of land adjacent to it. And I've packaged and pioneered a very big development there, which is a very well-known one now, and that's the one Andries is referring to, where we've actually constructed the first phase during COVID, and we've actually signed leases during COVID, and we were fully let out even before that construction were completed. And in the second year of that development, we had a waiting list of over 400 people, 200% more than the available beds that we have actually.
This is all during COVID, right? Where everyone was thinking that, you know, we're all going digital. Accommodation, especially for students, won't be needed anymore because then we can study from anywhere. And you had a waiting list of 400.
Exactly.
That is.
But I must add to that, it was done very well. And if you do something very well, you always have demand for that.
Were you guys not afraid? You know, like, I mean, developing during COVID, I'm pretty sure there were a lot of like developers trying to back out of the properties that they wanted to develop, you know, because they didn't know where the economy is going. They didn't know what the new normal is going to be. And you're out here investing in building a physical structure. Like, I mean, were you guys not scared?
I must just say, it wasn't me and Andries, it was other partners of mine. But yeah, we made the decision, and we actually backed ourselves, and we realized that COVID's not going to last forever. And we knew we had to build, and we had to take it as it is, one day at a time, and back ourselves. So that's why people knew that they had to go and study. They didn't have certainty about whether the campus will be open or not. So luckily for us, it turned out that they could go to campus, but on a very limited base or scale. So the year after, so that was fun. Everything worked out perfectly, actually.
Yeah,
but anyway, so I got my degree and my honors and my masters in student development with that project. You can't teach me too much about student development as I'm sitting here today. So we also were very hands-on with the actual tenanting of the building, the students, and running the complete building by ourselves. So we didn't outsource the management. We did everything in-house. And when myself and Andries got together, we decided, okay, listen, what are we going to do? Like you rightly said now, why did we choose student development? And we said, listen, let's concentrate on something that we can do, that we know that we can do very, very well, and also that we can differentiate ourselves, and not just do it well, but also differentiate ourselves within the sector. Yeah. And that's it. So we have the experience. Now it's just a question of how do you put yourself forward as being different and new, and that's why we came up with Volley. And we saw there is still a great need for student housing in Pretoria and all over the country. I always say, if you ask me, there are over 800 restaurants in Pretoria. I know this because I used to own one. And I was top 10 most of the time with my restaurant. But people also ask me, will you open another restaurant? I said, I will. There's always space for another one, but a very good one.
Yeah.
on average, you're not going to make it. If you can find a way to differentiate yourselves, yes, then you've got something going.
Yeah, differentiating, hey.
That's it. You have to. You have to.
Yeah. And yeah, it's not just this, it's a process. You have to keep on evolving all the time. We already have other developers trying to copy us now. We've seen what they do with some of our videos going out.
Yeah.
They've copied that. So we just have to be one step ahead of them all the time. So you never arrive. You know what I mean? You always have to reinvent yourself.
I mean, it seems like you guys are trendsetters, eh? And I mean, if someone's copying, what do they say? It's the greatest form of flattery, you know. So,
but I must say, Ronald, we have a good team that's helping us with a lot of the stuff. It's not just me and Etienne. We have, we've got a very good team behind us to help with a lot of the strategy and a lot of the branding and the marketing. A company called Yana Studio. They've done incredible work on a lot of incredible restaurants in Miami and all over the show, and they actually helped us to build this brand, and they also helped us with a lot of the strategy stuff. So it's not just us,
No, look, I've seen Jan and Ques's work. They were one of my favorites when it comes to creative agencies. I absolutely love work.
Legends, big legends. Yeah, so good. Yeah.
So now, on a different note, you know, I mean, you guys told me about all these exciting opportunities and how you guys, you know, worked around, like, you know, building this Volley Brooklyn brand. I'm quite interested in knowing, like, you know, in the past couple of years, we've seen quite a lot of protests and unrest at our higher education institutions, you know. Haven't such protests actually scared you guys as developers, or, you know, have you guys actually seen opportunity that maybe, like, you know, some of us are not noticing?
Yeah. So I actually had a meeting with the Vice Chancellor of the University of Pretoria about a year ago, actually in COVID, 2 years ago. And we had a long conversation about the I almost want to say just the state of the University of Pretoria. And the University of Pretoria is still incredibly stable. You know, it's still a prestige university, delivering incredible students, incredible results. And the University of Pretoria it's one of the most prestigious universities in Africa. And so I think with regards to mitigating as much risk, you know, I don't think look, there's definitely always risk to mitigate, but I think the University of Pretoria is quite solid. But even in those unrest, you'll probably it will probably happen in the future as well. You know, there's some things that you can't control. You know, we're not going to focus too many on the uncontrollables. What can be controlled? Let's do that well. But I think even in that, Ronald, you know, working with students that stay in our developments, this will be the first one of many, and that's hard to really invest into the students. And we'll have incredible people. We'll have talks and different events at these raises. It's to have an impact on students. To say, how do we work together? You know, is this going to be the best option to resolve an issue, or would there be another way that we could mitigate or work through stuff? You know.
Yeah. So sorry, Ronald. We're going to build the brand Volley. Volley Brooklyn is the first phase, or the first project, or the first site. Then next year we have another one called Volley Baileys. Then we're going to two other spots in Pretoria. I'm not going to say too much about that now. We still want to keep it under wraps as long as possible. We'll do the great unveiling later. And then we're going in about 2 years from now. We're going to start concentrating on Stellenbosch, Cape Town, Potchefstroom, Bloemfontein, then all those areas. So we're going to roll out quite aggressively. But your question about, are we not afraid of student unrests and raise the fees and all those type of things? If you have to look at what can go wrong in the country on all spheres or spectrums or industries, you won't do anything. If you have to be realistic, if you're going to concentrate on what can potentially go wrong, whether it's in transport or in mining, you can name any industry. It's layered with landmines. So no, we look at the glass very full, and we are very optimistic that what we do and what we offer will not be affected that much by whatever unrest or protests there might be.
Definitely will withstand the time, hey? So I wanted to ask, how do you guys see the investment landscape for student accommodation in South Africa? And how does it differ from other countries in the world?
I think Andries is going to answer that. He's Mr. Research next to me.
Let's go, Mr. Research.
Mr. Research. I think obviously the first thing with regards to looking at Volley Brooklyn or student accommodation as an asset class is to start by looking at the demand for a specific asset class. And the first thing obviously is to look at tax, for example. There's crazy demand for this type of investment. Just based on the amount of students that want a higher or a more luxurious offering that is in the market. Ronald, just to go back to your question, are you asking what is the difference between international student accommodation investments versus South Africa, right?
Yeah.
So the big difference with regards to that is that a lot of what we've done with Volley is based on two or three companies in the UK.
Okay.
And what's interesting with those companies is that those companies that are based in the UK, they don't open up their investment opportunities to individuals. They are all backed by investment firms or by listed companies. So individual investors hardly ever get the chance to get into these investments, because obviously it's a really good investment. Whereas I think in South Africa, the fact that we are giving the opportunity to personal investors to get involved in these developments is huge. I'm not sure if I'm answering the question correctly. Sorry.
Yeah, no. Like you are, and I mean, I'm also happy to say that speaking of that you don't have such opportunities for individuals. I mean, on Easy Properties, you can go and like invest in Volley from like 100 Rand, 50 Rand, from whatever amount you want, So yeah, it's super great, man, to also know that, you guys are also like opening up the property investment market for everyone,
Yeah, exactly. So we've I think obviously you've got the one on your platform. You guys have the edge as well. In fact, I've actually been investing in all of those developments that are focused on student accommodation, just because I know that asset class is incredibly sustainable, and I know that there's going to be capital appreciation over the next couple of years in those assets. So I've been investing in EP for quite some time, and I mean, I want to commend you guys as well. You guys have an incredible platform, and you guys are really doing an incredible job to get guys' feet through the door with regards to investing in property. So well done to Ronald, to you and your team, man.
I mean, thank you so much, man. I think that's also one thing that's also quite exciting. We also have developers like you guys that are really bringing in quality product, you know what I mean? And we also ensure that, we only bring like the best of the best, the creme de la creme onto the platform, So yeah, man, well done to you guys too. And then just for my final question, what are the current trends in student housing that you guys are noticing, and what are you guys anticipating? Yeah.
So I'll just start off by that, Etienne, you can follow up on that. So I think there's a massive trend towards mental health. Ronald, it might sound strange to a lot of investors, but if you're a student today, you'll know mental health is it's the biggest issue that students face today. So I think a lot of the purposeful student accommodation brands will start incorporating mental health solutions into the developments, whether that be through design, aesthetics, whether that be through specific events that they organize in these developments, whether that be through apps that helps students through stress. So I think there's going to be a huge focus towards mental health. So we've seen that trend throughout the world, and I think we'll probably be the first student brand that's going to incorporate this into our developments. And hopefully a lot of the local other brands will follow us. I think it's important for us to help and provide a solution to students today. It's not that easy being a young student today, and we want to help. That's the first thing. And I think the second thing, like I mentioned, is aesthetics and design. If you look at Gen Z, they're on social media, they love aesthetics, and building a brand that is aesthetically pleasing, whether that be all the way from your social media, digital footprint, all the way to your actual development. If there's a similar language, I think there's going to be a huge focus on that as well. Because I think there's been a huge focus on actual design, but I think incorporating that through to digital, to video, to all of those different platforms will become a huge trend as well now.
Everything that's relevant to the student of today. The landscape has changed considerably since my time, and I'm not going to give away my age, but I feel a bit older in this conversation. but yeah, so like Andries said, it's not only the mental health of these students. They are facing numerous challenges, and one of them are also career choices. It's so difficult. There are so many choices today for a student. I heard one person saying the other day that most people don't even know what they want to do at the age of 30. How can you expect a student to know what he wants to do at the age of 20 or 19? It's there are just too many choices. So from a career exploitation type of perspective, we will also have professionals coming in and giving them advice or guidance as to their career choices. Ultimately, it's one thing to go and study a BCom law or BCom accounting or whatever, but that just opens a million doors for you. So which one to choose? And I think there's a big opportunity in that as well, to give students proper guidance as to where they can potentially end for the rest of their lives in terms of their careers. So yeah, so the differentiating factor, it's for us, Volley is more than just a building. It's more than just a series of projects. It's an association that you want to have with a specific brand that represents a certain value. That's what Volley is all about. It's far more than just like say a bunch of buildings all around the country.
Yeah.
And the key is to get the students to see that. And I think we've succeeded to date in terms of that. But there's a long road ahead, and we look forward to that, to eventually tie all the knots and have a student looking back and saying, listen, if it wasn't for Volley, I wouldn't have been here where I am today. So that's one of our aims.
No, look, that's absolutely amazing. And I mean, I'm also just thinking about like my time when I was studying, and you know, you come from a different place, and now you know you're in a different town altogether. You know, so I mean, you guys mentioned the loneliness, you know, the pressures of higher learning. You know, adjusting to a new area. You know, and it seems like you know you guys have like nailed it down to the T, you know, to ensuring that, you know, you actually assist someone, you know, from start to finish with their, Hey, I feel like I should definitely move in right now, you know, I'd absolutely love it. But yeah, gentlemen, that's all. Thank you so much. I just wanted to have a brief chat with you guys, and I really appreciate your expertise. And I'm looking forward to a successful raise on Easy Properties. Thank you so much, guys.
Thanks,
Ronald. We appreciate your time.